All right, and now we are going to wait and cross our fingers and hope that future versions of ourselves have developed a theme song by now. So,
That's my
in
favorite bit right there.
5D.
You know, we could also just do this, but we haven't wanted to.
Mm-mm.
There's
No, we
all
haven't.
there's all kinds of production value that can be added to this, but we just why
Sounds an awful lot like effort. Not a
effort
fan.
effort and work.
Yeah,
Um,
horrible.
I haven't been doing much work, but I have been. Honestly, you're gonna be disappointed, but I've been playing Destiny 2
I am
because
disappointed.
it's a Halloween event. It's weirdly I always come back for the Halloween or the holiday event. They do
Okay.
cool armors and shit, and I don't know. Sometimes I just want to shoot some digital sprites in the face. And I've spent so much time in Destiny that I have cool weapons and cool things to style. I imagine that's why most people that have been playing WoW for a while still play WoW, because the novelty's completely gone and it's just repetitive as shit, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
think it's just habit.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's not a habit because I went. I think I stopped playing Destiny probably. I don't know, fucking February, January. I just stopped. I played other things. You know,
So it's not a habit, it's an addiction?
I don't know. Maybe. I guess you could consider that. It's definitely not an addiction that has any sort of detrimental effects. I'm not out sucking dick for Destiny silver coins or whatever.
Yet.
No, I've never gotten to that point. There have been times where I'm just like, man, that armor's really cool, but I'm not spending real money for it. What are you, stupid? Um, but I guess I'm just not their target audience for that kind of stuff. I also don't do the randomized loot boxes. I guess I don't have that kind of addictive personality because it's like it's nice to hit the button, but once I ran out of things and can cost real money, I'm like, but you don't not guaranteeing me that I'm getting the thing that I want. How about
Right.
you just let me give you money for the thing that I want? So you're way better. But of
Yeah.
course, we're bringing that up. Um, but yeah, I've mostly been playing Destiny. I kind of finished the last thing I was playing, and I had a realization as a gamer. I don't have to fucking finish everything and 100% it. I could just stop having fun and not play it anymore.
I've come to terms with that as well. There's a few games that I'm like, this is a fun game. I don't think I'm actually gonna finish it.
Yeah, I think.
Like I feel that way about Octopath Traveler. Octopath Traveler is really fun. I like it. I don't really feel a need to pour in the time to finish it. Like at all.
Yeah, I feel that way about Hades. Like, I'll go back and
Mm,
play it and enjoy it, but
same.
I feel no desire to just like jam through, collect everything, and finish it. It just.
Right. Every so often I go, I pick it up, I end up playing it for like a week or two,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just go play something else.
And then I have a Raiden like airplane game.
Hmm.
I've reviewed it on this podcast. I just don't remember the name. But it's the same deal. Every so often, I'll do a couple of levels, and then I won't play it for months, just because it's I'll hop back in, do a little thing. But I used to be like, no, I can't go play something else until I finish this game. And I keep talking about how Assassin's Creed Odyssey broke me because I tried to do that, and there was just so much content and so many side missions that it just was unbelievably hard to get fucking through. It
Well, I'll
just
be it's my birthday week, so I'm having my birthday and the day after off. That'll lead straight into the weekend. So I'm gonna try and I mean I doubt I'm gonna beat it. Seems like a tall order, but I'm finally gonna try Cyberpunk.
if you are just dedicating hours, it depends, right? You can't 100% it in a short amount of time,
Right.
but you can get through the main storyline for sure.
I'm not a get through the main story kind of guy, though. I'm a let's fucking grind out these side quests kind of
Yeah,
guy.
same. And I did that for Cyberpunk, and it did take me a while. But yeah, we'll talk about like beating it. But no, for that game in particular, I honestly just had a lot of fun exploring and seeing what else there was to see. I'm also one of those weird dudes who kind of makes it a point to not fast travel. unless it's like
Actually, depending on the game, but for Fallout kind of stuff like that, yeah, I'm actually usually
mhm,
the same. I'll just walk.
yeah, unless it's a game like Odyssey where you
Yeah, I didn't
literally
play
have.
Odyssey.
So the issue is you literally have islands and other islands, and there's no way to walk there. And I guess you can kind of sort of sail there, but it's just mind numbing.
It's not worth it.
Anyways, yeah, it's just not worth it. There are some games that I'm just like, no, I'm sorry, I have to use your fast travel. But other than that, I'm a purist. Damn it, no, it's not that I'm a purist. It's just I feel like you catch the Easter eggs better that way, and I feel like you just find things because
Yeah,
a lot of these games have a lot of small encounters or other things where
fun
it's
bits.
fun bits. They fill the gaps in, and when you just fast travel everywhere, you just kind of
You
miss
miss
all
them.
that.
Yeah.
And it
Okay, so
yeah,
we have diverted long enough. I feel like with what week this episode is happening on, it should be our Halloween episode, but because the way this year works, it's not. I guess Halloween episode will actually happen on Halloween. And yet, with what we're reviewing, I feel like this is our Halloween episode.
yeah. And if you've noticed, we've made it a point this month that every week have some sort of horror review. There hasn't been.
Excuse me. I believe what you're trying to say is every every week we've had something spooky.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
yes, yeah, except your mic blew out most of that.
Oh, I'm sure it did, but the recording will have it.
Yeah, I hope so. Actually, honestly, the YouTube might have heard it
It might
properly.
have.
Yeah,
You want
but
me to do one more? You want me to do one more?
yeah,
Pull
yeah,
back a little bit more.
I do. Take a step
All right.
back. Right
We're
back.
just gonna pull back. Ready?
Yep.
Every week we've had something spooky.
There you go. I loved it. It sounded a lot more Venture Bros than before, and I'm in.
Okay.
By the way, that needs to come back. Anyways, aside
Going to.
aside, there is one thing we have to hit because you finally saw it, and we don't get audience requests very often, so why not? Hellraiser 2022. Let's talk about it a little bit more. Seems we were a bit brief
Oh,
last time.
let's do another segment called Devin disappoints the audience.
I mean, that's just called every single episode. Anyways, so the Rings of Power ending. I just found out the last episode. I'm kidding. Tell us about your watch of Hellraiser.
I watched Hellraiser.
Sure. Have you seen others?
So look, it's a series that I'm familiar with in concept a lot more than I'm familiar with in like actually diving through and doing a big chunk of the series. I think it's probably of the really famous series, probably one of the ones that I've done the least of.
Okay.
Even as a kid, like not ones that I haven't done recently and I don't remember, but legitimately ones that I haven't done at all. I think I saw somebody told me it was number 3, and they seemed very confident, but I don't know if it is for sure. I saw part of one of them years ago, like middle
Yeah.
school. Somebody said, yeah, 3. It's the bit that I remember from it. I probably watched like an hour of it, if that, maybe like 45 minutes of it, and came in the middle. And the only bit that I remember from it is there was a Cenobite with like CDs in his head, and he launched CDs at people to kill them.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all I remember. That's all I remember. And that's the only one I had seen. So then, my best friend ended up reading the book that it's based on.
Okay.
Fell in love with the book or short story or whatever it is, novel. I don't know. I can't keep track of this shit. Whatever. He does that.
I wonder if it's a
Uh,
novella.
Whatever. So he does that. He watches the first. He loves it. I sit down. I watch the first. I'm lukewarm on the first, but that seems to be my case with a lot of the classic horror franchise first movies. I've actually been pretty lukewarm on most of them, and have actually found my enjoyment later on in a lot of these series, which we've talked about most of them.
Yeah,
on
and
this
it
pod.
seems to be a trend because the first one always seems to be not what has made it into the cultural zeitgeist. So
Right.
it isn't quite fleshed
And,
out.
and Hellraiser is exactly
Hmm.
that. Really, the mother is more of a villain than Hellpriest is.
Yeah,
So,
in the first
um,
go, for sure.
so that was all the familiarity I had coming in. Like you doing this movie, I really didn't feel like I missed out on anything by
Hmm.
not watching. Like maybe there was some small nod to something somewhere,
Oh,
but
I'm
I
sure
didn't
there
feel
were
like I
Easter
lost out
eggs
on
all over the
any.
place. Yeah,
Yeah, but I didn't
references.
feel like I lost out on any of the experience of seeing the movie coming in at just this one. Um, I feel like, look, I'll just go ahead and call out the controversy right now. I'm going to close this closet door because I'm just looking at it in my own screen, and it looks so much messier than it is.
It's
Like,
causing you your own mental health issues, buddy. Yeah,
it kind
you
of
close
is,
that
though.
door. Yeah, no,
It
I
kind of
understand.
is.
I
I
understand.
swear, like the worst part is it's not nearly as cluttered and dirty as that angle would make it seem.
Hey, I have a virtual background for a reason. That's all I gotta
Yep,
say.
fair. Does anybody want these monitors? No, I'm gonna get them.
Well, big giveaway. Used monitors. You pay for shipping.
No, I'm gonna give them to the person I'm giving my old computer to.
One monitor. I'm kidding. I got nothing.
Anyways, Hellraiser.
2022.
Let's talk about the controversy, the whole casting of this chick as Hellpriest. Good God, it didn't make a difference.
And honestly, they never address it in a way where it's a replacement.
No.
Pinhead could still be out there.
Yep. This could be Lady Pinhead for all you like it. But it could have been anybody in the makeup.
Hell, it could be
The
revealed
voice
that this
was
is one
mostly
of
digital. The makeup covered their whole body.
Yeah.
It could have been anybody.
and this could literally be, hey, maybe we later find out it's a character from one of the other ones that was taken, and now they've whatever, right? You just
And I
you
don't
just
want to sound like
know.
I'm taking away from the performance. What I mean by it could have been anybody was just, it's like at a point it's like Dormammu. It's so digital. The performance is still good because the actor is giving a good performance. But a lot of people could have given a great performance and it probably would have came off pretty much exactly the same with how digitally enhanced the performance is in terms of the look and the sound of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, good God, it just didn't matter. It was fine.
yeah, that's exactly how I felt.
It was fine.
It added nothing and took away nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
As far as the rest of the cast, I think just about everybody did a good job from, thinking back on it. Like, I didn't have anybody where I was like, fuck, I couldn't stand this character or this actor. That never really came up. It was paced well enough.
Yeah,
I think, let's get my biggest problem out of the way, I guess, then. I admit this is nitpicky, but truly this was my only
ooh, I
big
wonder if it
problem.
matches with one of mine.
Maybe. This my only big problem. I really hated the actual prosthetic they put on the main villain for his torture. I just thought it
Uh,
looked really, and not even that I thought it looked fake. It was just so bulky and ridiculous and kind of dumb looking. I just legitimately did not like that prop. I thought it looked horrible.
yeah, I didn't understand it until much later. I thought actually one of my biggest issues was really low kill count.
Very low kill count, yeah.
Uh,
And I don't know how the other Hellraisers stack up
That's
to
true.
that.
I don't either, but
Again, having seen the first, I'm pretty sure it has more kills than the first does. I believe the first is 5 at most.
yeah, something like that. You might be right. It's been a while.
Yeah. I should mention you can get the first two on Shudder and Amazon for free. Those two have it for free. Everything else you got to pay for.
Yeah. I will say this is one thing I didn't talk about when last episode, but at one point I was terrified because I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna call them aliens! Oh my god, they're gonna call them aliens!"
I think they were gonna call them aliens.
Yeah, because they had started dropping hints about them being explorers. And then that big spaceship-looking thing dropping in from the sky. I was like, they're gonna be like aliens or interdimensional travelers or
Oh, see, for me, I
something
never felt
science-y.
that.
Okay, I was
Because when they said
afraid.
explorers, they were. I kind of took it more as they were explorers of
Oh, I
the
understood.
self.
I understood because I know the lore, right? But I was worried that coming new into it, trying to breathe new life into the series, why not give it a
Sure,
fucking twist? They didn't.
they didn't.
Spoiler. I'm very
They did
glad that
not.
they didn't. Um,
Same.
but yeah, I will say that this definitely leaves itself open for a sequel, and it seems like they revealed more than we thought there at the end. Did you
Sure.
stay for the post? It
Yeah.
wasn't even post credits, right? It was like,
Yeah. No, it's just like the secondary ending.
yeah. But apparently that's a pretty big reveal.
So maybe that's something that I don't get. Why is that a big reveal?
We haven't really talked about where the Cenobites necessarily come from or how they are made. They no
Yes, we
no
do.
no. So they talk about like the process that they go through. Like there's all kinds of lore. I've gone down the Wikipedia rabbit hole on this one. There's all
I did
kinds
the
of lore.
same because I've always known about Chatter just being one of them. And I was like, is there any more information on this character other than he's called Chatter? And he goes,
Yeah. But I misspoke. I think what I believe is this is the first time they show a lot of it.
okay, yeah. So from the wiki that I read, obviously it's just a wiki article. So it was hard to tell whether they just explained it or whether they showed it.
Okay, that's fair. From just when I was going through my whole wiki.
To me, it sounds like they at least showed Hell Priest having it happen.
Interesting, because I know I know who does it, right? There's a particular character in the series that
Yeah,
does it. Um, I just don't recall because it's all supposed to really match up with the type of person you were.
yeah.
So I don't recall. Maybe I need again. I do need to go rewatch them, and maybe it was covered in the comics. I haven't read any of the Hellraiser comics, and there are a bunch of like
No, so from what I was reading, it's apparently 3 and 4 really dive into the history of the
okay,
Cenobites.
okay. Maybe again. I had read an article or something that mentioned this is the first time showing
And
it.
yeah, maybe it's something that they more explain
Yeah.
than something that they show. Because let's face it, '80s movie, there's probably a whole lot of fucking exposition of like,
It's
we are the
voodoo magic.
Cenobites. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, 80s films. There's something to go, and then they time travel. How? Oh, they time travel. Okay.
So let me sum this one up like this though, because we got other ones we want to get into.
Yeah.
Um, Fuck, it's really hard for me to be honest about where I fall with this without trying to sound like I'm taking away from it, and that's truly not what I want. Um, more, I agree they're totally setting up for sequels. Would I be more than happy to watch some sequels? Hell yeah. Is this my favorite horror movie of the year? No. Has this made me like ravenous to watch all of the old ones? No. Uh, uh, let me temper that. I am probably going to watch them only because I'm already rewatching lots of the old horror
Hmm.
franchises, and this has maybe bumped it up my list. But it honestly, it's definitely not the next ones I'm going to tackle. And it's probably only minorly influenced by this movie.
Yeah.
I think I was going to get to Hellraiser soon-ish
Eventually.
here.
Yeah.
Like, not even just eventually, like, soon-ish. It was coming up to where I'm getting to that point where, like, Hellraiser's just going to be a natural selection on what
Well,
I was coming
because
up to.
you're kind of running out of them.
Exactly, though. Like, yes, truly, that's why. And so that's why I just want to temper that. Like, I'm probably going to watch it soon, but this hasn't really moved that needle. But I don't want to say that like this is bad. It's still really
Yeah.
good.
It's
Honestly, ooh, this might be bold. This might be fighting words to some people, but I might go this far. It's as good as Prey.
okay. Some
just
people,
in a very different way, obviously,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because they're very different toned movies. But
Some people really like Prey.
this is as healthy an addition to the Hellraiser franchise as Prey is a healthy addition to the Predator franchise.
Okay, I get that.
That's what I will say.
And
So,
honestly, the best way I can describe it for me, it's this is this is Hollywood horror,
yeah,
and that's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just it. Because it isn't breathtaking. That this isn't. It follows like conceptually. It was in its time, but we know it. It's comfortable.
Well, and we're slowly leaning back into that thing, and you know I complain about this all the time. And we'll actually get into this with a couple of the other movies I'm going to review later in this episode. But we're getting back to not over-explaining horror. Fuck me, for the last few years, every horror movie has been like, but let me tell you why the villain's a villain. Oh no, here's his horrible childhood, and
But
that's why
not
he
really
has
any
the
of the
urge to kill.
good ones.
No, it's not been the fucking good ones, but it's
Exactly
been all
so.
we've been getting. And so now, like Hellraiser, what's the lament configuration? Oh, it's a fucked up thing where bondage people kill you. Who are the bondage people? They're the fucked up guys who come from the puzzle thing. Why are they doing it? They like it.
Yeah.
That's all the context you get, and legitimately, that's all the context you need. What's happening? Bad shit. It's a fucking horror movie.
Bad
Suck
stuff
it up.
happens to good people.
Yeah.
Yep. I get it.
Again, it was one of the biggest complaints, weirdly, here's the fucking pot calling the kettle black, or however you want to look at it. But that Rob Zombie Halloween remake, people were not happy that he dove so deep into Michael Myers' background. I get it, I understand it. To a point, I agree with it. But legitimately, I also thought it really worked for a Rob Zombie style Halloween movie. I like that movie. I thought it fucked.
It's funny because a lot of folks, it's so weird to say because when I was a teenager, this was the thing, like, oh, people just don't understand Rob Zombie. As an adult, people just don't understand Rob Zombie.
Well, you know, I don't think he's trying to do anything that's not right in front. He's a very blunt filmmaker.
Yeah.
That there's not a hidden anything. That's the thing that's on the screen. That's what he made. That's it.
Exactly. And it's not because it's stupid. No, it's...
Nope.
He likes a certain style.
Yeah, he likes to fuck you up. That's what he's there to do.
Yeah, and he likes surprising you, and he likes taking the taboos and being like, look, this is a thing that sometimes happens. Let me show you.
And credit where it's due. The second half of that movie is an insanely faithful remake to the first Halloween. And the fact that he can take the whole first Halloween, make it the second half of a movie, and still have it work is impressive on its own.
Yeah, some folks thought it was a little too, like, they were expecting him to do something with it, but, I mean, again...
He did, just with the front half and not the back half.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is that. All right, so let me line one. This is going to be short and quick because I do want to talk about it and bring it back because I believe we have reviewed this before. But like I did Hocus Pocus, I do like to watch older Halloween flicks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we probably reviewed this when it came out, but I'll be honest, I remember so little about it.
So I had never actually seen it. I had skipped this one altogether. I had heard awful things.
Had you done any of the show?
Yes, but mostly accidentally.
Okay.
It was syndicated on Sci-Fi, and there was a summer where I hurt my thumb, one of my fingers. I was stuck in bed for a bit, and I just happened to catch reruns of like Friday the 13th, the show.
Yeah.
Dark Shadows, things like that.
Okay, so I had not done the show at all.
All I had was a basic understanding of what the show involved, but it was very slow-paced for me. And it seemed like what watching the old Doctor Who series would be to someone who doesn't know what Doctor Who is, and they just jump into the middle of it, right? Like, there's just stuff. So, I didn't hate it. Obviously, I was a kid that was super into the paranormal. Not saying that's changed very much, but it was ghosts. It was vampires. It was a little spooky. But that being said, I know the story because later on, I went on a Wikipedia hunt, that rabbit hole, and I know the general story, how it went. So I went into this movie with no expectations, and I mean none whatsoever. I heard that it was terrible, but it's been so many years since came out. I didn't really hear why it was terrible.
Just that.
Just that it was a, and I'm not even joking. Came up in a Reddit. It was a travesty to the show.
Oh.
Yeah, travesty to the show.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's feelings were really hurt by it.
Yeah, exactly. But you've seen it. What is your fuzzy impression of the movie before I jump into it?
Walked away thinking it was harmless, campy schlock. Just to be blunt about it. I just remember kind of walking away going, well, that was a movie that happened. Made really very little impression at all.
Okay. So, I just watched it, finished it this weekend. I actually wrote a couple notes and everything just because I was very surprised. I will say the 90% of this film, it's fine. It is very much your Tim Burton whimsical, creepy. We've seen this before within Dark Shadows. I will say that I like that Johnny Depp wasn't just Captain Sparrow as a vampire.
Yep,
that was good. It was a solid performance. He's fine. I like the fish out of water, but unfortunately we've seen it so much out of depth that I'm not even impressed anymore. I get it.
Yep.
A lot of this movie was that. It was a fish out of water comedy with some dark elements and tones. They definitely livened up the property because the show was very much darker and morose and macabre.
Dry.
I guess. Exactly. This was fun and witty. It's star-studded cast. I mean, you've got obviously already mentioned Johnny Depp. You got Michelle Pfeiffer in one of the lead roles. I mean, supporting role, but still gets a lot of screen
Grace
time.
Moretz, who big name at the time.
Yep. Helena Bonham Carter, who is of course attached to
Big name all the time.
Yeah, anything that Tim Burton does, kind of stuff.
Who's the villain chick in the red dress in the picture you have up? I know her face, and for the life of me, I cannot pull her name up.
This is not to shame you, just to point out how funny this is. We had this conversation like last week. It's Ava Green.
Shit.
Eva
Yep.
Yep, that's her.
There is.
I thought she'd play. Dude, she was hamming it up, but in the best way possible, because we know that she can act. She's proven it before. She looked like she was having fun playing the evil witch, right?
Yeah.
Like, she was totally in her element, and there was definitely chemistry between her and Johnny Depp, but it was fine. It was harmless. It was Hocus Pocus 2, right? Like, there wasn't nostalgia to power me through this one, and it was okay. It was all right. Some of the jokes fucking killed me, but I gotta put it out there, and Bonsai has been fucking hearing about this all day because I just brought this up.
Oh my god!
When I say 90% of this film is harmless, there is one moment in the final fight.
It's not even 90%, guys. He is so mad about a 1 minute scene.
Yeah, actually, that is about a 1 minute scene.
It's a 1 minute scene. He's so mad.
But I will say, here was the
It's
problem.
not entirely unjust.
I was having fun. I understood what kind of film it was. It felt like a slightly more adult Casper to me, if I'm being honest.
Sure, right? Yeah.
Because Casper also has some dark moments if you pay attention.
Yeah.
But towards the end, we're having the final fight. The vampire and the witch are going at it, and then all of a sudden, you have a character that the daughter's character. I think it's Caroline is the character's name, played by
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yep, I was just gonna say Chloe because
played by old Chloe Clothes.
Old Chloe.
Moving on.
Yep, just skipping that. Who's just been a moody teenager the whole time and kind of like bitchy in the background, making comments.
Bitchy in the background is my all-female punk band that I'm in.
I mean, to the point where like she's not even in the conversation, and she gets mad and yells at like the youngest kid at one point. I'm just saying, like, doing her thing in the background, seeing normal teenagers is the way that they're showing it, but not all of a sudden during the last fight. It's revealed that she's a werewolf, and here's what
She's a bobcat.
she's a bad cat. Here's what I'd like to believe. I'd like to believe that there was additional footage explaining this, and somewhere along the way it was left on the editing room floor. That's what I like to believe.
Possible.
Because all we got was her jumping through a hole in the roof, already in her werewolf form.
Yeah.
Her mom
Being
has
wolfed up.
a throwaway line of something along the lines of Caroline, and then just about that. There was another word, and she looks and says, well, the line escapes me exactly because I suck at this, but it's, I'm a werewolf. Let's not make a big deal with it. Let's not make a big deal about it, or some shit like that, right? And I shit you not, she pauses for dramatic effect and looks at her
Yeah.
mom and goes, wolf. And then attacks.
She says woof.
I said wolf.
But it's not wolf, it's woof.
Oh, sorry, I said it dramatically, so I was saying wolf.
Okay.
I get it. Like, she, like, barked, basically. Yeah. Up until that moment, I was having loads of fun, but it broke the immersion because, one, completely out of nowhere, I thought she was going to be possessed. Legit. Thought she was going to be possessed. And there was no werewolf. I was like, there's no indication of this. And it was just such a... I honestly felt it was like a fuck you to the audience. So, that lost it a whole point in my book.
Fair enough. I mean, it didn't have a whole lot of points to lose. So where do you rank it?
I was at a 3.5. Now it gets a 2.5.
Wow.
I'm sorry, because it's not gonna get a 4. It's not a 4 movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Out of
No,
5.
it's not. It's not.
Yeah, so it's getting a 2.5. I'm sorry. You just like, not that anyone gives a shit, but release a director's cut. Do something about that. Dear Lord. The final reveal was cheesy and stupid because and it wasn't even that it was bad. Like, okay, big spoiler. Movie's been out forever. At the end, the love of his life gets turned into a vampire as well, right? Yay. But boy, that makeup shift, like, she went from normal to fucking Morticia Addams in like 2 seconds. It was fucking jarring.
Fair enough.
I just disagree with the aesthetic, but again, that is a tiny nitpicky thing. I'm not gonna remove.
Was
it
this a
from
Tim
that.
Burton?
Yeah.
Okay, of course it was.
I mean, I will double check, but I'm pretty sure it was. If not, yeah, no, director Tim Burton.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
Who apparently has recently announced that, yeah, he doesn't think he's ever probably going to work with Disney ever again.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
I mean, I don't
even really like Tim Burton, and I'm still like, yeah, it makes sense.
Makes sense. But yeah, 2.5 out of 5. It's harmless. Watch it during Halloween. Don't think about it. Don't seek it out. It's fine. It's fine. That fucking line.
If you can give yourself minor brain damage before seeing it, that seems to be the way to go.
Or just get baked, whatever.
Close enough.
All right, let's talk about some real fucking horror movies just to get away from that.
Spin that wheel, bud. What am I talking about?
I get to choose this one because I like the actor. Tell me about Black Phone.
Black Phone. It's about a phone that's black. Say it in Spanish.
Teléfono negro.
There you go. So I actually did not know this coming into the movie. And you're going to immediately understand why I enjoyed this movie once I say this. We start watching the movie, we're maybe 5 to 10 minutes in when they slowly reveal that the young daughter has prophetic dreams like her mother did before her mother died. And her abusive father doesn't like her to use her powers because that's what got her mother killed. And I'm going, damn. Bunch of kids in town going missing from a kidnapper and a little girl with psychic powers. This feels like a Stephen King story.
it it
And
does.
so I
Did
grabbed my
someone
phone real
get
quick.
hit by a car?
I grabbed my phone real quick. I looked it up. It's not a Stephen King story.
Okay.
It's a Joe Hill story, Stephen King's son. Um,
Wow. Okay.
who I do really love. I'm a big fan of Lock and Key. I'm a big fan of Nosferatu.
Hmm.
Joe Hill is fantastic. This is on par with anything Joe Hill has ever done. What I love, it's a very minimal background kind of
Okay.
movie. Basically, what I've told you about the daughter and the psychic powers, that is both all the background you get and about as much as it comes up. She has some powers that kind of help her lead police closer to
So
finding
it's a World of
these,
Darkness adventure when you play a vanilla mortal.
sort of. But the whole thing is about a her brother who is kidnapped by Ethan Hawke's character, who is just
Mm.
called the Grabber,
I mean,
and locked in a room with a mysterious black phone that only he can hear ringing. And on the other end of the phone are the kids murdered by the Grabber.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
okay.
and this is one, it's going to be really hard to talk about in depth.
Without
Not because there's a
spoilers?
lot that I'm
Oh.
going to spoil. No, really, that's about it. It's more the way it approaches things and the direction it goes down. I watch this with a group of horror movie watchers, or even like my wife, who's just lived with me for too long and now knows how to dissect movies and call out tropes and things that are going to happen. And I gotta say, we were wrong about 90% of the things we were like calling out.
Oh, that's
Um,
great. I love films like that.
yeah, and I can't say that, like every decision was like amazing, but we were wrong about it. We
Hmm.
were very rarely correct about the things we were trying to predict. Ethan Hawke does a fantastic job playing this crazy nut bean of a man.
I'm a
Uh,
fan.
yeah, no, he absolutely kills it. The Grabber is like one part Hannibal Lecter, one part the Joker.
The
Yeah,
Joker, the film, or the Joker, the character? Because it matters.
the character.
Okay, fair enough.
Like there's definitely some madness and some playfulness to him, but at the same time, this is just a very deeply broken, very intelligent person.
Okay, fair enough. Um, okay. Do you want to give it a rating, or is there
Um,
more you'd like to say? Because it sounds like we're on the edge there of this one.
yeah, less that we're on the edge and more just, man, that's it. It's mostly about watching this kid try and get himself out of this basement. Most of the movie. It's just about this kid trying to survive in this basement and the different things he tries and the different advice he gets from the various children who were murdered by the Grabber. There's literally next to no information on the Grabber that you get. No background, no reasoning, some stuff that you can piece together.
Hmm.
I guess I will say this because I don't consider it a spoiler because it's something that we more figured than something that's outright told to you, and maybe you'll
So
walk
this
away
is
with
a
a
guess
totally
or a
different,
prediction.
yeah, somewhere right in between
Hmm.
those things. It is very briefly mentioned that the Grabber can hear the black phone, but he only heard it once as a child, and he insists that it's not real. So I think the black phone might be what drove the Grabber mad. Like this was his childhood home or something, or someplace he spent
Hmm.
time, and the phone is kind of what got him and made him kooky.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Which also, I get where you're coming from because you know Hill's work.
Yes.
So
And this is very Joe Hill.
exactly that he loves artifacts.
Yes.
He does. So yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. Rating, man. 4.7, 4.8.
Nice.
I will say, coming off of the other, so we're going to be reviewing these in the reverse order of me watching them. Coming off of the first movie, this, like, I had a hard time sinking into it, and I think my whole group did, because we were like, man, coming off of the almost whimsical tone of the first movie, this was just like dark and grabbing. Like, it's just kind of fucking bleak.
Like maybe this one should have gone first, kind of deal.
It probably should have gone first.
Well,
Yeah, really good. Yeah, 4.5, 4.7, somewhere right in that ballpark.
is this one of those movies you can only really experience once?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Because while those are great, it's
Yeah, no,
kind of
no
rough.
big twist ending. No, oh, it's gonna be like this predictable run. Like, no, his performance is still going to be dark and chilling. The atmosphere is still going to be set up very well. Everything is still interesting, and I bet on a second watch, you might maybe pick up some more subtle things that might clue you into more bits of the background.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, you kind of mentioned it. Do we want to just go right into it?
Balls deep. I don't know what that was supposed to mean.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. X by T.I. West, Ty West,
Yeah,
West.
I think it's tied
I think
because there's no dots.
Maybe. Maybe. They're also both capital, though, so we'll never know. X. Let's just set up the plot, because I feel like the plot really sets you up for the kind of movie, and then also does not at all set you up for what kind of movie this is.
Okay.
So it's the 1970s, late 1970s, 78, I want to say.
Okay.
And a group of people are staying at a farmhouse to film a porno, but they have not told the owners of the farm what they're staying in the farmhouse for. So it's like, main farmhouse, barn, little side house that I believe they say it was built during the Civil War, and was used as like a strategic holding point for,
Something.
whatever side they were on to hold people
Yeah.
in, but it was never used.
Okay.
So that's where these folks are staying. I gotta say,
It's like a barracks.
yeah, yeah. Well filmed, well written, paced. Part of me wants to say paced slowly, but I will also admit, had this, it's under 2 hours.
Okay.
So it's not that it's paced slowly because it's very long and I felt like they were padding time. We're still under 2 hours, right? Like hour 45. Not a bad runtime.
No.
Paced interestingly because we do lots of character work up front. And I mean lots of character work. To the point where you start to convince yourself maybe this is one of those movies that's only atmospherically horror.
Oh boy.
While knowing that surely, because of the establishing shot we get, or the establishing scene we get up front, that clearly this is not an atmospheric horror. And yet we're just plodding along with lots of tense interactions, tense moments, and boobs, because we are filming a porno.
Yeah.
And then even as the tilts really start to happen, and as we start getting into the meat of what is going to be Act 1 is a lot of character development and tone and atmosphere development. Act 2 continues with the same until maybe the latter half of Act 2, when shit just starts getting really uncomfortable.
That's
That's
a long
really
time though.
Uncomfortable.
Okay.
Right, but we pat out the front with titties.
Okay. Does it
And-
work?
Hold on. I'm being extra crude on purpose here because it's clearly a cinematic choice that we have purposely padded the front of this movie with sex and titties. We've done this on purpose. There are some mirroring elements.
Mm-hmm.
There are some established expectations. Just like you're feeling, you're going, fuck, this sounds like it's a slow plot. And that's why I want to say the movie is paced slowly, but it pays off that it's paced slowly. We do the slow burn for a movie and a half to where we kind of ramp up into some Okay, minor spoilers for X because I really don't think I can do this too much justice without some minor spoilers. We start to get really uncomfortable with the elderly owners of the house, like sexually uncomfortable with the very gross, very elderly owners of the house.
Interesting.
To the point where, like, at first, so the people who were watching the movie with me, it's a couple of coworkers and their spouses and things like that. And so at first, the joke, like, literally, the out loud joke was, "What'd you guys do this weekend? Watched porn at the IT guy's house? Ha ha ha." Then it became, "What'd you guys do this weekend? I think we might have watched geriatric porn at the IT guy's house." And then towards the third act, it started going, "What'd you do this weekend? Hey, don't go to the IT guy's house." The uncomfortable levels of this just fucking ramp. And then, right
Wow.
as you're getting to the heart of, and there was a point where I even thought to myself, maybe the killers aren't who I thought they were. Maybe this is a very different movie. Then some motherfucker just gets murked brutally, and then from there it is just boom, 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 boom. And not all of them are kills that quick. I mean, it's just hits, and there's a hand trauma that. Remember, I make my wife watch lots of horror
Hmm.
movies, and you know me, I tend to lean on gross out. I like gross out horror. That's usually my go-to.
Yeah.
There is a hand trauma that is just gnarly enough that my wife was like, "Yo, if they keep showing this fucking chick's hand again, I'm going to walk away."
Oh my god. Okay.
She couldn't handle like it. Like honestly, I was like, "Really? That's the one that got you?" And she's like, "Yeah, dude. Something about what they did
I
with
wa-
that hand was just not
I
okay."
want to revisit that moment, but continue.
So it all spins out into what I like. Fuck, I really like X, bro. X was really good. And as I was telling you just before we started, X came out early 2022. The sequel to X is already out. You can get it right now on Amazon. It's an early access, so I think it's $20 for the rental, but you can get it. It's called Pearl. It's a prequel,
Oh, fun.
all about one of the characters from this one, obviously.
Hmm.
And the big deal was that it was filmed in secret back to back with the first, which is why it came out so quickly. Like, this movie came out, and at the premiere of this movie, they went, "Yo, there's a sequel to this, and it's already like pretty much ready." So they just dropped a trailer for the third movie called Maxine. Who I guess this is a spoiler, but come on, we all know how horror movies and final girls work. So the girl on the right holding the axe, that's Maxine, and she will be the star of the third movie, which we're guessing is going to take place after. So it'll go X, Pearl, which is a prequel, and then Maxine.
Hmm.
Maxine is not filmed yet. They just have enough footage to do the trailer for it. It's not done filming. But Mia Goth, is now co-writing the movies with T.I. West. So she co-wrote Pearl and Maxine with him. I'm really excited. I think basically everybody who watched the movie with me, we watched the trailer for Pearl right after, and it was like, "Oh, we're probably just gonna go rent this now." Like they were all really
I'm glad
excited
it
by.
was that, and it wasn't actually like we have to go talk to HR.
No, we all ended up having a really fun time with this one. It's a lot. And look, if you're uncomfortable with nudity or pornography, like this isn't the movie that goes, they got what they deserved for filming that naughty sex. Like there's a lot more to it than that. This is a movie that's okay. I think we summed it up really well. Where House of a Thousand Corpses is the gore porn homage to Texas Chainsaw,
Okay.
this is the art house homage to Texas Chainsaw. I don't know if you noticed, but in the bottom left corner of this, which you have up, it's an A24 film.
Yeah.
I love A24. A24 does some dope ass horror, but they tend to do some like elevated artsy kind of stuff a lot. This is artsy gore porn. This is, uh, yeah, it's
That's the
like
best
think of
way you can
mid.
put it.
Remember the parts of Midsummer that were super fucking brutal?
Haven't
It's
seen it.
that with a lot more parts that are really fucking brutal.
Okay. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I need to be in a very particular mood to watch.
It's one part gore porn, one part super uncomfortable horror.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And before I go completely on a tangent here, give it a rating.
Fuck. You know where the hand trauma fucked up my wife, there is a full shot nail step that is not cut at all. Just homeboy barefoot stepping on a nail. Really well done, really brutal. I part of me wanted to come in and say that the pacing was really slow, and by the time I finished the movie, I went, no, the pacing felt slow but was appropriate and worked for what they were trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Without having seen Barbarian yet, bro, X might be my horror movie of the year. That's a
Okay.
five.
Oh, that's a straight five?
For
Wow.
me, that was a straight five. I really liked X.
Nice. And now we pause for in the future when we have a. That's a 5 point fucking movie right there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We'll definitely get an audio stab, and that will not be blank sound when you listen to this later.
All right. No, 5 out of 5. That is fantastic.
Yeah, I was really, really happy with this. Really excited to see Pearl.
So one thing I want to go back to, there was that bookmark I threw in there.
Yeah,
So
hand trauma.
hand trauma. So not the trauma itself, but that reaction to it. I am a big, audiobook listener, and I recently listened to a book that was supposed to be about aliens and them coming to Earth, but had a part in there where someone is getting torched for information, and by God, this voice actor was amazing. So like having that like look, I have weird experiences. I know what it sounds like. And having a voice actor portray it so close to the real thing was fucking brutal. It hit like a fucking truck. So I can only imagine watching that scene and just so kudos to the director and the sound technicians because when you have media that can just bring you to those places, this is why you watch this shit. Like this is
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole point, right? You're experiencing a crazy scenario safely. Just thought I'd throw that in. The long story way of saying that is probably why this is a 5.0 because you had a visceral reaction and so did other people.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to throw this out there just because I wasn't super familiar with who Ty T.I. West was. So just some of the stuff I'm going to pull out that he's done that I'm at least familiar with, whether I've seen it or not. Did Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one. I guess now I need to.
Did one of the segments in the first VHS. He did Second Honeymoon.
Okay.
Did an episode of the Scream TV series, which I reviewed very well on this very podcast.
Okay.
A couple episodes of Wayward Pines, which I actually didn't get into, but still a decent show that he was a part of. Did an episode of the Exorcist TV show. And then did an episode of Tales from the Loop, which was a lot of fun. And then back to back to back, X, Pearl, and Maxine.
It sounds like hopefully he has a promising career in any. I mean, he should try tackling other odd genres, but definitely in the horror genre because you have to like pace it properly for something to be purposefully boring or
Yeah.
purposefully involved because he probably also planned that to get you involved with the characters, get to know
Yes.
them, and then maybe feel something when they die because
Yeah.
it's a horror flick. Yeah, 5 out of 5. That is fantastic. All right, that actually brings us right at time here. Check us out Monday nights, 7 to 8 Pacific on N5D Podcast on YouTube. Tuesdays, twitch.tv/Metagame Network, where we play video games with some of the folks that pop onto the stream. Final words, Bonsai.
I think it's our first 5 out of 5.
I think it's pretty fucking close to being. I don't know if Klops might have given something 5 out of 5.
He might have. But he's dead. His ratings no longer count.
I guess that's how it works. Bye.
Bye.